Michael Wismer.
Mr. Wismer, you can hear us?
Hello? Michael?
Yes, I can hear you.
And then Elena Giacchi. She sent you.
And she sent me an email that was a bit confusing. She said she had to accompany somebody to court yesterday, and so I said, I'm going to come back with the meetings tomorrow. I'm not sure, but there was some substance in the email at an appropriate point in the agenda. I'll discuss that. So let me indicate for the record that we do have a quorum, and we'll move through the agenda. Item 3 is consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the January 12th meeting?
I'm sorry. So moved.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Record may reflect Jim Stewart moved and Debbie Dodge seconded. Is there discussion of the meeting minutes? I thought they accurately reflected the discussion. Thank you, Dannette. That's good. All in favor of approval of the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the minutes approved. Item 4 is public comment. Dannette, I know you told me we had somebody that wanted to speak that perhaps didn't have the capacity to jump in by Zoom, and gave them information about coming here and so forth.
Yes.
Anything from that person?
I have not heard back from them, but I will send you all of their information so that you can read.
In addition, I think you attempted to put them in that group of share.
Yes.
What?
I did speak with the sheriff and he said to give him all the information for internal affairs.
Okay.
I went ahead and gave him all of that,
All right.
plus all this information.
Anybody on the Zoom from the public wanting to address the sheriff's office and advisory review? I'm looking around like, anybody?
That's why when you sit next to me, you can actually see it.
Well, we hear none, but we are fortunate that item 5 is sheriff's office comment. And as the chief, as the sheriff informed us last meeting, Diane Dosal would be present to talk about behavioral health. And she's accompanied by a whole complement of able people from the sheriff's office. We're appreciative that you're here and that they're here, and it's your floor, man.
Okay, thank you. So you put out the annual report, and I just want to say thank you so much for everything that you highlighted for the behavioral health unit. I did send that to the rest of the group so that they could review that and just have familiarity with the board since they're new to behavioral health. Having said that, I would like to say that my success comes from, this group. It takes a village to make these things happen and make behavioral health a success, especially when it comes to street outreach, which we've been doing a lot of. And we did another round this week, and we're going to be doing another street outreach in a couple of weeks as well. From that, Lieutenant Dudowitz has been great about kind of summarizing the success of the street outreach, which is meeting people where they're at and getting resources to them by means of case managers, social workers, our case managers here, and nurses and First Nations and Mexico Veterans Integration Center. So it's really helpful having everyone there to help out individuals that are in need and those who cannot help themselves. But having said that, I wanted to make sure that I took the opportunity to highlight how this program and how the behavioral health unit is growing. And so I asked them to all come here today to introduce themselves. You've been hearing for a long time that we were in the process of hiring case managers, forensic case managers, also known as CAST. And I wanted them to have the opportunity to come in here and meet everyone and to talk a little bit about their backgrounds and real brief backgrounds on, why they ended up being selected. We had 40 applicants put in for the positions, and you are looking at our top 3. And they're top 3 for a reason, because of what they can bring to the unit. As well as our new Sergeant, Patrick Delp, who was also mobile crisis teams before. So he embraces behavioral health and he really gets it. And it's been a great transition with him. So further ado, I'd like for everyone to introduce themselves so that, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate.
What a perfect backdrop for you.
I bring it.
You arranged that.
Oh, there's Mr. Lopez.
All right, Joseph. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Sorry for being late.
Hello, glad to see you.
Did you want to call on folks or just as?
Yeah, let's go ahead and start off with Jennifer.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Jennifer Martinez, and I am coming over directly from CYFD. But my background is pretty much Child Protective Services and case management. I did help with the Office of the Ombudsman in Arizona. I was also a permanency planning worker out there. So I worked with families after children were removed from homes and working on the reunification process. I also did that work, is where I started my career in Rio Arriba County here in New Mexico. And then I came back to New Mexico from Arizona in April of 22. And I was helping with the Office of Children's Rights with CYFD, a very cool office to help advocate and give voice to youth and children in foster care. We kind of lost support for that office, and I had the opportunity to come and join the sheriff's office. And so I've been here since December.
Hi, I'm Danielle Smith. My background is so I came from All Face Children's Advocacy Center. I was a forensic interviewer there. I was at All Face for 15 years. I was the supervisor for the forensic interviewers for about the last 4 to 5 years. So my background is primarily in child abuse investigation. All Faiths in the
I
department.
don't know if people know what All Faiths is.
Right.
I have a background.
Do you? Yeah.
For me to know.
So I can explain it a little bit. The short version is whenever a child or a teenager or an adult who has some sort of developmental disability has been a victim or a witness to a crime, law enforcement needs their statement just like they do any other person. Forensic interviewers are specially trained to ask children, teenagers, and adults questions in ways that are appropriate for their developmental level. It's done in a way that's child-friendly, culturally sensitive, as well as non-suggestive. So part of my job was testifying in court. I'm still getting called quite a bit to testify. And so we worked the All Faiths at the Safe House when I was there. We worked very closely with Special Victims Unit, as well as some of the other law enforcement agencies that are local. And I was the supervisor there for the forensic interviewers for the last 4 to 5 years or so. And this opportunity came up and I applied, and I'm very thankful to be here. So.
My name is Irene Melendez. For the last 9 years, I have been I was with the district attorney's office. I spent 4 years here in Albuquerque.
Can you speak louder?
Yes.
Oh.
My name is Irene Melendez. Prior to coming to BCSO, I was with the district attorney's office for the last 9 years. I spent 4 years here in Albuquerque, and then the last 5 years of my career, I went out to Santa Fe, and I was working as a victim advocate. So I educated victims of crime on their rights that they had throughout the criminal justice process before coming over to BCSO.
And my name is Patrick Delp. I'm the new sergeant for the Behavioral Health Unit for Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office. As Diane mentioned, I was one of the original 2 MCT detectives when we started this project 6-7 years ago. I was promoted to the Special Victims Units, where I know Danielle from. I spent a little over 2 years in that realm. I tested for sergeant, and this is my 7th day in the unit. So happy to meet all of you. I'm so glad that we brought Diane over, stole her after she retired. The model that she has and had worked under, in my opinion, is probably one of the best in the country. And she's bringing that template to us. And it's a pleasure to try to implement this, but again, I ask for patience moving forward, because to say there was a learning curve would be an understatement. So
Lieutenant, might as well since you're here.
I was not supposed to be here today. My name's Amy. I've been at the sheriff's office for about 22 years. I spent the majority of my career doing the special victims unit. I also was a supervisor for a short time in the mobile crisis team. We did put together this CAS program. Diane was also fundamental in helping us get the county to receive that program and fund these positions for the forensic case managers. At the end of the day, I usually walk around with the key fob and push the start button, and that's just about all I do when it comes to that. But I'm really excited about the team that we have in place because frankly, like, as you can see, we picked a great group of people. I think we're set up for success. I think we have nowhere to go but up from here, and we're doing a lot of good things.
That's it in a nutshell. Do you have any questions for us?
What an impressive array of folk that you pulled together. We have a subcommittee, Dr. Layden.
I have a question. Tell us more about street outreach. How do you do that? Where do you do it? How do you approach people?
Yeah, that's a great question. So street outreach is fundamental to the behavioral health unit because as we brought on our case managers, it helps to make that collaboration happen. And as that collaboration happens, it gives them the resources of knowing local community resources and being able to help out, not just on street outreach, but as they obtain and get referrals from the field. So street outreach is about truly meeting people where they're at in their time of need, bringing, you know, nurses, advocates, case managers, Veterans Integration Center, just any walk of life really that wants to help out the community, those who might have, for those who might be unhoused, or the youth, you know, we do experience times when we've met individuals, you know, from that age group of 18 to 25 and being able to really help navigate them through a better process, a better system's helpful. But it's also trying to understand the community's needs, right? As we look towards grants and we look towards getting more resources to BurnCo, to the behavioral health unit, we can't do that if we're not out there, you know, boots on the ground, truly trying to figure out how we can help out individuals. But again, like I said, it does take a village to make this happen. I have partnerships from, you know, my prior employment, and they've come back to help us out. And with, you know, Sergeant Delp just really being a part of like embracing and having that passion for a mobile crisis team. Not everyone wants to do behavioral health, right? Just because it takes a special individual to want to be a part of that process. And what you are looking at is a table full of individuals that are far in, you know, along into their career where they just want to pay it forward and really help out the community. I mean, I think that's why we're all here. It's really cool to want to be a part of SWAT and cool to be a part, you know, of all these other divisions, but behavioral health is truly where you need to be when you have compassion, a passion for the job. And each individual here has that, which is why they're a part of this group now. So having it grow, I mean, it's really a blessing to see. And I'm eager to see what the sergeant does with this program, because he is truly like the liaison between, you know, the 5th floor, the administration, me, and then the case managers and mobile crisis teams. So street outreach is basically about that, just meeting people where they are and finding out how we can better tap into resources and be advocates for them.
How do you meet them? Do you just go out on the street and look for them, look for people?
Yeah, so we do, I guess it's called like a foot patrol. We have like a briefing location. Lieutenant Dudowitz and the sergeant will designate an area. Right now, we've been focusing on the central corridor, and that's been basically, you know, anywhere from Tramway all the way out to 98th Street. Mm-hmm. And we've found out a lot, you know, and things that we wouldn't have found out otherwise if we hadn't just actually been out there, you know, canvassing and going through each neighborhood and alleyways, and we've been able to even help out animals in need that are with the in-house and working with organizations in that manner. I'm sure there's a lot that I'm not mentioning that they would probably speak more to, but just being able to really focus in on that through these case managers, victim liaison. I mean, I just feel like we're really well-rounded right now. there's always room to grow. But that's why they stood out as our top 3 candidates, because they can really bring a lot to our program and really, I think one of my selling points was, if you consider this position, if you are able to commit to this, we welcome your ideas. And they have come in headstrong with ideas that they brought in from what they've learned, and I just really feel grateful that we have this opportunity to expand the behavioral health program.
Thank you.
So I did a couple of ride-alongs when I did this, which I found that I was so enlightened by doing that.
Right.
Is there an opportunity to do something like that with the street outreach?
Absolutely, especially street outreach. Yeah, I don't see
I don't know.
why
yeah.
not.
I know
Yeah.
you have to stay in the background and be
Yeah.
careful, but.
Well, I'll get approval for that, but yeah, I think that'd be great. I would say, why not do something maybe along the lines with mobile crisis teams and coming and visiting our office? As SOARB members, you're always welcome to come and kind of see the work that these individuals are doing first, so you can understand like how we get to like the root of these issues and then where it goes from there. So yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, just doing the ride-along, like when you're on the other side of when you're in the car, you pull someone over, makes you think of things a lot differently.
No, I appreciate that. And you've always actually been, really invested going to the Citizens Academy and all of that. So I want to help with that and encourage that. So
Okay.
absolutely. You're always welcome. Everyone here is always welcome to our office across the street from the Maine Police Department to kind of see what's going on in the work that's being done there.
Okay, I'll just reach out to you then and figure out how we can do that. Or to Amy or whatever.
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Now, when we say reach out to you, the sheriff prefers we go through him.
Correct.
So
Okay, yeah, I'll do it.
I sent him a note.
Okay,
Yes, send it to him and then just CC me on it.
okay.
All right.
Thanks for that reminder.
Other questions? Mr. Wismer, Mr. Lopez? Any questions, comments, concerns?
No, sir, Chair Jewel.
Mr. Stewart, sure.
Do you have a mission statement?
Do we have a mission statement? So we do have a mission statement for the behavioral health unit, but as you saw, we did revise that standard operating procedure. I would like to create one for our newly revamped program,
Okay.
Especially with CAST. We have a mission statement for CAST that was, it was kind of introduced as through the grant, but we do have, a focus in on that.
Okay, and I have one other somewhat of a gotcha question. I don't mean it like that. More and more in law enforcement, it's data driven.
Sure.
Metrics. Do you have that in place to capture what these people are doing and how it benefits the community?
It's a great question because we're actually doing that right now. So we do have oversight to our program through BurnCo. We have projects coordinators that are overseeing what we're doing and how we measure the success of the program, but also how referrals are coming in. And we, as you know from last time, we do have a SharePoint system where we kind of track some of those metrics. But I know, Lieutenant, I don't know if you have more to add, or Sergeant, but essentially they are helping to build that program with us because they had that expertise of building programs and training. And so they're welcoming new ideas to that. But we do meet every month with our kind of like our oversight projects coordinators through BurnCo, which is Emily Martin and Jessica Benali. And we do talk about, what does that look like, and creating new forms for the social workers to basically have that overall picture of behavioral health program and its success. So
Okay.
the answer
There's
is
no
yes.
doubt about your passion and your commitment
Sure.
to this mission.
Yeah.
But bean counters.
Data-driven.
Bean counters, what'd you do with this money we gave you? And it sounds like you're well on the way. Okay.
And actually, we just came from upstairs with our IT on how we are tracking some of the forms that the deputies are using, that the case managers are using, and making sure that we can pull quality data and accurate data. So,
Thanks.
yeah, great question.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
May I ask, what department is the oversight in? You said it's upstairs. Where is oversight?
So that they are under Pam Acosta, who oversees the behavioral health program, the behavioral health initiative. So it's
It's coming
essentially
out of
through
the
Pam
behavioral
Acosta.
health unit?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, and they've got people do them.
Yes. And they check in with us and they've offered us also training opportunities and they provided behavioral health summit, which we all went to as well. So there's a lot going on. But we definitely, have I missed anything, anyone? I don't want to, as far as data and anything along those lines.
No, I think just, we're gonna continue to develop that. We do wanna make sure that we are capturing the work that we're doing and so that we can show how it's growing. And I mean, from the start, we're receiving little cases at a time, but we're gonna it end up being really, really busy and helping out people. And I really want to be able to capture how that has increased and hopefully we can grow and get more forensic case managers on board.
There's a hand up, Mr. Wismer.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Diane, excuse me, the question that I have is, how are you funded? Are you funded directly through the Sheriff's Department? Or are you a separate line item for Burley Hill County Commission to look at every year? Or is it in the operational budget of the Sheriff's Office? The reason I ask the question is because I'm thinking about the future and a potential advisory comment about continued funding. I just don't know the mechanism for which you are funded under the behavioral health initiatives that was voted on by the taxpayers a few years or within the budget of the Sheriff's Office.
That is the case for mobile crisis teams, as far as the funding for which that comes out of, but I'll let the lieutenant talk more about how the case managers are funded through an approval through the county commissioners, also through CJCC, but also how they were funded through the grant that we'll be applying for this year. LT?
Now, okay. So we had started prior to this administration talking about revamping our social work team as well as increasing victim liaison services through the county. We met with Pam Acosta and had asked for some BHI funding to assist us in trying to create these positions. And Pam had asked us to apply for a Department of Justice grant called Connect and Protect, which is a law enforcement grant that tries to bring together behavioral health services along with that nexus of criminality in integrating those two systems, if you will. So we did apply for that grant, Connect and Protect, last May. We did not receive the federal funding, but we received really good feedback about our program and our plan. However, in the interim, the county decided that they were going to fund these 3 positions. I don't know that we have like an end date on that. I look across the table and I'm sure it's going to be just fine. However, that was part of the reason Diane came in and got us that oversight, was to basically, by going through all those separate committees that we went through. And at the time it was 3 separate committees before we could get to the county commission. Right. And yes, some people that are sitting here know about that. Consequently, the county did say that they believed in the program, they believed in the positions, but now it's up to us basically by providing the data that you're asking for and demonstrating the commitment as well as the success of the program to keep it going. What I'm more worried about is that we're going to have so much success that it's going to have to double in size. Diane tries to keep me like, you know, humble in my corner about let's not grow too much too fast. However, I'm pretty confident that we've already seen exponential growth with regard to the things that we are doing and the people that we are serving. And the street outreach, I mean, we're doing the central corridor, which, as you know, Diane had indicated, that primarily is the city. And so we are serving the greater part of the city when we are actually out doing that street outreach and outside of our own jurisdiction. So there is definitely like a lot of people out there with great need, and I'm confident that we are going to be able to like secure funds moving forward. But we will be applying for the Connect and Protect grant again this year.
So everyone knows Kathy Court, but she, you know, she was the grant writer for that, and now she's government intervention affairs. But Kathy Court. Yeah, and she's come to a couple of these before, but she'll be helping with helping us reapply for that Connect and Protect grant.
And was there an ask at the legislature or anything?
Not regarding that. So this was through that grant, but what was great that kind of came from that, almost bittersweet, is that they were able to advise us the pros and the cons of, you know, the information that we had put forward and giving us that report. So Kathy was going to go ahead and implement everything that they had suggested, that we just add extra to, so that we could get considered for that.
You mentioned the CJCC
Yeah.
and the case manager. How do they play into this? The Criminal Justice Coordinating Council?
So they helped us, and I'll let Lieutenant speak more to that, because that did happen before I got here, which is they helped us kind of give the support forward to commissioners to advocate for the funding of this grant, kind of giving, you know, having met with us several times about their questions about what this program could look like and how many case managers we would be meeting, and we had already covered data in there, speaking to that, and basically making sure that we did meet the performance measures of that grant. But because we were already planning for that, that's why we're kind of ahead of the game when it comes to being data driven, because we already knew that we were going to have to really focus in on really tracking that information. I don't know if you had anything more to add to that, Lieutenant, about CJCC and how that hooks in with the case managers.
Simply the way I understood the CJCC was that they vetted our program prior to the fact that we were able to sit down and ask the county for those funds. It was a pretty strict vetting process, the way that I recall it, for those of you that were there for part of that, because it wasn't just the CJCC. I can't remember the secondary crisis subcommittee. We met with 3 subcommittees before making it to the county commission meeting to request the funds. So I think we all feel relatively confident in the vetting of this program. I think now the proof is in the pudding, and we just have to bring the pudding to the next dinner, I guess.
Okay, Mr. Wismer, I had you muted there. I don't know if you had any follow-up on your question, but I did want to mention that both in our report and oral presentation to the commission, we were able to cheerlead for additional funding, continued funding, and an eye on this effort. So we're pleased to be in that role, I think, as a SOARB, to consider us an ally and let us advocate.
And Mr. If I might just add, my comment was going to be along the same lines as the chair. In terms of considering us an advocate, would it be possible for you to come back later in the year as we get towards the end of the year and speak to the effectiveness of your unit so that we could potentially have some favorable comments and advocacy for funding support in our annual report?
Yeah, I had figured that we'd probably be doing that anyway, just to make sure that we're always, you know, connecting with you all, and then with that subcommittee that you both have. I think it's important to talk to you about the success of the program.
Okay, anything else? Well, again, let me express the appreciation of the board. Thank you all for the work that you do and for presenting to us. I hope that this presentation becomes a part of the piece that you use. I think it's helpful in us gaining an understanding of the unit that you put together and people that actually work in that unit. And again, we hope to be in a position to champion the effort that you all are undertaking. So
we thank the board for the support, and we'll definitely take you up on that.
okay. Please do.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
We thank you. And
thank you all.
certainly,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work. I hope I get to get out there and check it out.
Yes.
All right.
Take care.
When it gets warmer.
Thanks so much.
Not too hot, just right.
Take care. Great game. You guys are awesome. Thank you.
Thank you guys for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it makes such a difference to see it from a different view.
Yeah, I,
The right along.
We can talk for a couple hours
My
about
outlook
this topic.
totally.
Yeah, easily.
So much at the forefront of everything in law enforcement and corrections right now. I think we need to bring corrections under our purview.
You know,
I'm just kidding.
and.
No, we don't want correction. No way.
Just leave that board.
Continue
Let it be.
we continue
Yeah.
to discuss some, but Joseph, do you know how fire and rescue enters in on this? I mean, every time in my neighborhood anyway, I see fire and rescue getting called to some of these calls that probably these folks, oh, you can answer that.
Well, being under public safety, yes, we do have clinicians that we have on board that are part of those calls.
So is there a connection? Are they disconnected?
They're all, so one of the things under with the behavioral health initiative, they all do talk to one another. They all have their meetings together. And they're just trying to see how to, right now, because it's all new with the sheriffs and the fire, how it all kind of comes together and how they're communicating. There's a lot going on within the county with all of this. I
Well, I tell
mean,
you what, man,
under that, we have the
if
wellness
there's anything I
center.
think we want to be in that we want to champion, it's communication and cooperation across these agencies. I look at this DWI stuff and when there's not communication, that's exactly in my observation.
Yes.
Having been in government. Well, it's the DA's fault. Well, it's the chief's, everybody's saying it's everybody's fault with me, and when you have a collaborative effort, you can even figure out, it's not gonna go right all the time, but if we're together, we can approach solutions, and when it goes wrong, we can say, okay, well, there's a lesson to be learned from that. We don't need to finger point.
Yes.
We need to continue with the effort and make sure it's an effort in earnest. So anyway, Daniel?
And I work with the CJCC as well.
Okay.
One of the many roles here I have. And I work with MDC and Behavioral Health, Pamacosta. We have a system where they share the data, as you stated, where we have frequent utilizers and resource reentry center, where they can work together and get that information across between the agencies. I didn't think of asking the question of whether they're tapping into that same information. They're connected to behavioral health. They can also get.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know who's responsible for the shelters, like the West Side? I just hear horror stories from people about the conditions in those shelters. So is that the city or the county or?
It depends. I think the city has a ton of them, but we have
the
like
family
hotel.
wellness,
Yeah.
yes.
So
Yeah.
we
And
have
I work there one day out of the week, so yes, we do have our own
So you got a
wellness.
multiplicity.
The West Side one?
No, it's
That's-
called the Family Wellness Center, and we bring in families, and our biggest referrals is APS, so we can ensure that the kids are in school and getting what they need, especially if they need any kind of behavioral or education.
And how many people?
And so
can they
Debbie, when you say
Uh,
West Side, what are you talking?
Over 70 some people. And we don't disclose the location just for a reason, because we do have people in there that are, so it is a hotel. We run it out of a hotel for now. We
Okay.
did get funding to move forward through the behavioral health
And
initiative.
the city's trying to buy more.
But our
Housing is-
program has a lot of success. We have all the APS counselors go there daily. We have our own case managers that we just hired, 2 of them, coming in through that same funding. And we work well with referrals from behavioral health care. We also get referrals from the sheriffs. So the only difference is we're working with families closely with APS, because we're trying to make sure that the children have the food, have the education, and we even have a bus that transports them to their schools and drops them off.
And the tiny homes are kind of almost.
The tiny homes is part of that funding too, under Pamacosta, and that's more for singles. So, I mean, we're kind of, trying to get, it's a big net to cast.
There's a lot of community.
Yeah.
connections, housing.
Yeah.
It's a huge.
Oh,
net.
there's a huge.
Yeah, it's a huge
There's a
net,
lot.
so it just, it's really big, and working there, one day out of the week, you really see that the problem is bigger than we even think, when we see it on TV. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So.
I drive down Vinny on a daily basis. We know, don't we?
Okay. So I don't want to get us too far off topic.
I just say one thing that'd be very quick. If you remember, we got
Yes.
this.
Mhm.
Yeah. They give you some idea of what's out there to help these people. And, from my perspective, as a guy who used to be in charge of stuff, now there's a lot of disparate pieces.
What is that? I didn't ever get that. But
I think
A
it's
list of
Diane.
agencies.
Diane handed it out. It's a list of agencies to help people in
Oh,
Vallejo
okay.
County. But sometimes they're all competing for the same resources and maybe they have conflicting missions and, it's just a lot of folks maybe doing the same thing. So there's redundancies. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right.
I don't know. There's a huge need, so I don't know.
I don't, to answer that, we don't really compete. We're all trying to help each other out there because if they don't have the accommodations and they call down that list to see who can accommodate and get people in. So I think we're in a shortage of housing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
really, I'm talking about a much higher level than you're accustomed to. And it's when you build budgets and you decide who gets what piece of that pie, that's where you get into problems with this. Because this religious organization wants this, and this group of volunteers wants this, and their mission sets are awfully similar to one another. So how do you decide which one gets the money? That's a challenge for administrators.
Right, and here we are, we're saying, oh, okay, well, let's make sure that this is a model effort. We want to, trumpet this explanation. And there's agency jealousy out there. They're getting the resources, we actually do the work. Anyway, enough, I think. Unless there's something more to be said on the sheriff's office presentation. Go back to the agenda. Under old business, A is discussion of 2024 SOARB strategic plan. I think Mr. Wismer has given us a draft. I think it went out to everybody by electronically, pass these out. And Mr. Wismer can speak to that.
I haven't. Yeah.
I have it.
Mr. Wismer, it's your floor, sir.
Okay, I know this is hard to do from being remote, so I won't get
I
too
just
long
can't
into
hear
it.
him.
Yeah, can you ask him to speak louder?
Yes.
It's hard.
Can you speak louder, please?
Yeah, we're
Yes,
having a hearing you, Mike.
Is this
And I
better?
don't know if it's electronically here, is there something we can do to enhance his volume? Okay.
I'm gonna adjust my volume here as well and see if that helps. Is that any better?
I think we'll be all right, Mr. Wismer. We don't, we'll, if somebody misses something, they can tell you to repeat it. Please, just go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to start off with saying,
Yeah, thanks, Daniel.
Thanks.
You're the man.
Did we lose him?
I would like to start off by saying sometimes when I'm participating in a discussion, I don't take as good a notes as I should have. And I think that may be in the case in this situation. But anyway, you all have it in front of you. And the comment that I did get back from Dr. Layden was essentially a preference for some words, which I will change. But the biggest comment, as she wanted to understand and correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Layden, is what the use of the word progression in community police relations. And my thought in that is that I think police community relations, it's just my opinion, but I believe police community relations is a moving target, and it is a progression on a continuum. It starts at one level and then it either improves or not over the course of time. And I just always looked at it as a progression and never a steady state. And that's why I called it in the progression of police community relations. If there is a better way to phrase that, I'm open to it, but that was my thought when I put it together.
I would use law enforcement instead of police.
Thank you.
Yeah, and
Okay.
how about progress? In the progress of police and of law enforcement and community relations, is progress okay?
Yes.
Okay, that I understand better, that I understand. Thank you. I would,
And then, and so now I would just like to turn it over to everyone else instead of me pontificating. I used to be a politician. I used to do that pretty well, but I don't like it anymore. So I'll leave it up. If there's any comments from my colleagues that I can incorporate or change or make better.
no,
Okay.
I don't think so.
Only got one laugh. Jeez.
Okay, I have a comment.
Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Hi, Michael. Your first item, I agree with. Yesterday, I talked for a while to Elena. She called. The people who have concerns about the sheriff's office may be part of her underserved group. She's been trying to have a meeting for this group for some time. It hasn't occurred yet. May I propose that in the first 6 months of this year,
Can you mute him?
we arrange a SOARB meeting with the sheriff's office and for Elena's group of people. I don't know how we find them or where we have it, but we make this a SOARB meeting for the community to express their thoughts to the sheriff's office, and we ask that the sheriff be present. So we set up this meeting around his schedule as best we can, knowing that something can happen at the last minute. But those are the people who will come to us. A lot of people don't have complaints about the sheriff's office. We need to accept that.
I got a email, as I mentioned during roll call from Elena yesterday, and I'll share that with you. Sorry about that. It was kind of garbled. So I think there are different versions. I think she said, I will not be at the meeting. I'm supporting someone to court today. I wanted to be there to comment on Wismer's recommendation, goals and actions. I'm a bit dismayed that there is absolutely no mention or recommendation about trying to find out additional information on our underserved communities, reaching out, creating a safe space and getting feedback to those most affected by law enforcement. And she says, I have received comment and criticism about BCSO. And so I wrote back to her. I said, to be clear, the meeting is tomorrow. I'm sorry that you will miss the meeting if you can't make it. I will share your concern and any information you may give me with other members. So that was my response to her. I don't think I got anything else from her after that. And of course, this is now the fourth meeting that Elena has missed, or is it just?
Yeah.
Said she tried to get in January and couldn't.
She
She
there.
came in for a little bit. most of that.
That's right.
Okay, so she missed November and December. I brought up attendance to her.
I mean, and I'm certainly not trying to knock her
Let's not.
for attendance purposes.
Yeah.
But it's difficult for us to get a sense of exactly what the concerns are. And she in this email says that she's gotten comment. And it'd be nice if she shared that with us. I don't want to get too far in the weeds on that. I want to back up and say, good job, Mr. Wismer. I think the mission that we entrusted to you was to come up with the broad, three items under which we would have some activities. So I envision that there is room in this for Elena's concern. As Dr. Layton has mentioned, I think has been made at least available to us as a concern for quite some time.
But that's about, we have a SOARB meeting. It's not gonna be on the weekend. It's not gonna be in the evening. Because it's an official SOARB meeting. We need to have someone from the county there.
Well, I mean,
I'm just saying, I don't know.
want to give the
we
board
can
the
meet all of-
impression that our enabling legislation prevents us from doing something on weekends and evenings.
I was gonna say, I think we can do that.
But it won't be an official SOARB meeting. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, even if it's an official SOARB meeting, there are predicate to us meeting. Daniel, as our attorney, will say, well, if it's gonna have to be advertised, it's gotta be
Yes.
open.
Yes,
And
We need to have notes and meeting minutes.
Well, and we can accommodate that even if it's on a weekend and we don't have Danette, there are recording devices from which, you know, she can do that. So I'm not knocking that if regular, we're not so regimented that we can't change the way we do things. But we need to know why and how and who and that
not
kind of
associated
information.
with a
Yeah,
politician.
well, I don't know about not associated, but at least we're not promoting. I think that was Mr. Wismer's concern before with trying to rush and do something under the guise of Senator Linda Lopez's time. Yes, Daniel? Okay. All right.
He has another
Thank you.
Good
meeting.
luck. So anyway, I think that the topics we have are broad enough to at least continue discussing. We're gonna fit what Elena points out as a gap in what we have the obligation to do as a SOARB. And Debbie, your comments are well taken, and Mr. Wismer's previous concern about us promoting somebody inappropriately is well taken, as is Elena's continuing concern. As you talk to Dr. Lane, just hope you express it. It's helpful if she's here to field some of these questions, because I don't think I'm capable of answering.
no, we need to put this on the agenda for next month and we'll make sure she's here as best we can.
But I mean, that can be one of the activities around enhancing public input and engagement to make sure that we are adequately addressing communities that are not prominent. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, to that end, I mean, the lowest hanging fruit, something that we could do right away is we could send a news release mentioning the new strategic plan and saying that one of the goals is to increase outreach. And so we are, again, we'll have a quote from you saying, we are again encouraging people to contact us, come to our meetings, and then I can try and book you on shows, maybe on KRQE or on some radio shows. And when you and TJ Trout are talking, or you and Bob Clark, you just say, we are especially trying to reach communities who of the kind that we're talking about, and make a direct pitch there. So that'll be easier for us to do than set up an event, and certainly it doesn't preclude one or the other, but we could get started on the news release and the media outreach right away.
I mean, and if they have comments, they don't feel like they can come to they don't want to be where we are, they can make
comments.
written comments too.
Mr. Wismer.
Yes, Mr. Wismer. You have to take him off.
And I like Mr. Floyd's recommendation, but I would like to add, based on the conversation I'm hearing around the table, I would like to add another bullet to this plan before we make it final, and that would be under the first section to basically put words and verbs together that say a special emphasis to reach out to underserved communities throughout the county. If that was all right with the rest of the board.
Is that our mission?
Wait, yes, it is.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Yes.
No, it is not. We're
Yes,
the
it is.
Sheriff's Office Advisory and Review Board. We're not here we're not serving underserved communities. We're here to
That's part of our mission, in my opinion, is to reach out to
we're trying to we're trying to gather input. That's the service that we're.
Yeah, we're
it's
trying to
not
get
that we're
their
gonna go and do anything specific.
For everybody in the county.
Right. And,
Including.
and I think that the statement, if I'm understanding Elena correctly, is there's a segment of the community that you're not going to reach by traditional means. Obviously, we haven't had public comment from anybody in, what is it now,
Months.
4 months, 5 months, maybe? So I mean, we don't need to argue over, but as Esteban is saying, we need to continue the outreach. And if she's got a method of outreach that puts us in contact with people whom we would not otherwise hear from, particularly if they have concerns about the sheriff's office, like this older gentleman that somehow got to Danette. And, you know, he's
Got what?
there was a gentleman, and Danette, you can elaborate. How did you find out about him?
He sent a message to one of the
Commissioner
commissioners.
Casala.
Yes, and then Casada's assistant sent it to me, and he was just seeking information on an incident that occurred on his property. So I gave him internal affairs, because sheriff's is like, have him go and file with internal affairs if he has a complaint, because the complaint was with sheriff's. I also gave him all the information for the board meeting and also gave him the sign up. He called and he said he wouldn't be able to make it to the meeting, he still wanted to do complaint. So I told him if he had problems getting in, just go ahead and give me a call back and I would give him all the information to Judge Jewel. And then he could reach out to him or vice versa, whichever he felt comfortable with. But one of his problems is he's elderly and he was having a hard time with the technology. So I told him I could do one of two things. I could fill it out for him, or I could just give him in contact with Judge Joe. So I didn't hear back from him today as I was hoping, and I didn't want to be like, you know, too prying because I know he's very, so I will reach out to him tomorrow and give him all of the chair's information and we can just go from there.
You know, so we have, you know, that image. Sales are here. Excuse me. I mean, it is daunting for me. You say, well, you know, all you gotta do is jump on the Zoom. There is a segment of this community for whom that is a big challenge.
Yes.
And so we don't want to leave them behind. We want to make every effort. I don't mind, you know, TV appearances, but not even that, you know, with a certain segment of the community in the old adage, serve and protect, or enforce, or however the adage is, you know, they get more of the enforcement they feel.
Yes,
than
then the
service,
protection
than the protection.
and the service.
Right, and so, you know, it's not our mission to leave anybody behind. And so I, in my estimation, don't have a problem with especially reaching out. But we need to make sure that we can do it, you know, in a way that everybody understands, a way that everybody appreciates that we're not doing anything inappropriate. You know, we're not engaged in a political activity on behalf of a specific candidate. We're reaching out to community to make sure that they can safely and comfortably comment about how the sheriff is performing in their neighborhoods, in their estimation. So anyway.
Judge, if I might.
Sure.
I have a problem with the word underserved. That used to get thrown at me all the time.
Okay, we'll find another word.
What I would like to see is a definition of that. You know, it might be African Americans, it might be gay, it might be Hispanics, it might be this, it might be that. And, you know, Elena, God bless her, kind of throws that word around.
Okay, let's find another word.
Well, no, but who, I mean,
But
they're underserved all over everywhere.
But I think that the point of reaching out to the community, as you both have said, I mean, that's going to capture that. And then Esteban can help us style these outreaches to get to that piece of the community, I would think.
Yeah, I just don't, it seems like that's always the emphasis is underserved communities, but this is the county and and the sheriff serving all communities.
Sure.
We don't want to just focus on that.
Want to give.
But we don't want to leave them out,
Give
but you
the
know.
impression for Elena that she's saying that the sheriff is not engaged with those communities, maybe those folks have a different idea, you know, and we're here to hear it. And if necessary, disabuse them, or to go to the sheriff and say, what about this? But whatever the circumstance may be. So anyway, Mr. Wismer, I certainly would accept that amendment to the plan that you proposed. Or what I might say is this: thank you for coming up with the 3 bullet points.
Yeah.
And apparently you see that in that rubric, that there is room to indicate activities that encompass that concern without creating a 4th bullet. But it says, okay, we've got some broad strategic goals. What about the activities that we're going to undertake to achieve those goals? And so that would, I think, assuming we adopt the proposal for the strategic plan, would be one of the next activities with respect to that. And so I think we've heard pronouncement of some efforts that we might undertake. They may need some massaging. You know, they may need some definition. Sometimes I feel underserved, and I probably check a bunch of different boxes. But you know, that term does need some definition, and it would be nice to know precisely who we're talking about if we're going to go someplace and, you know, hear from some folks that have some concerns. So, Mr. Wismer, as I had given you the floor, is it your intention that we go through a process of adopting this now, or do we put more meat on more flesh on the bone, or what is your suggestion?
I would like to suggest we adopt with changes, so that way we can get the process moving as Floyd has indicated. And if we can adopt it and and then get it on our website, then Floyd can launch his effort to, you know, advocate for broader community input that he mentioned. So in the interest of time, and this is a year projection for what we want to do, I'd like to suggest we adopt with changes and move forward. And then subsequently, in future meetings on the agenda, we ask ourselves, what are the tasks that we want to do to stay in alignment with this? So that's my recommendation, Mr. Chair.
Okay, that recommendation will reach the chair as a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Is that your second, Dr. Layton? It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there further discussion on the proposal? Mr. Wismer, you've captured some of the language of alteration.
Yeah, law enforcement for police.
Right.
Let's find another word for underserved. Maybe it's the perception of those people that they don't have the communications they wish for with law enforcement. I'm trying to find another term.
And we don't have to have it right now.
No, but we need to look for it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So we have some sense, Mr. Wismer, that will adopt something along the lines that you mentioned with a synonymous term for underserved.
Okay.
Anything further on the proposal then? Anything? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you so much, Michael Wismer, for your hard work on this.
Just one question. Could I ask Floyd if I could reach out to him separately after this meeting and possibly look for the right way to describe what we're trying to capture here for the broadest community input that we can get across the spectrum of all parts of our community. So I'd just like to ask Floyd to help me with that
I'm a
other-
child.
You bet, by all means. And then I'll get a draft news release together and send it to the subcommittee
I know.
for
Well,
review and comment.
okay, you don't have to.
That's what she got on this board.
Okay,
Work
The right reason.
are we all right to move on?
Yes.
Okay. Item 7 is announcement of the next board meeting. What would be our projected date?
Okay, I can't attend, the next board meeting, I believe, will be on March 8th.
9th. No, wait, hold on. 8th, and I can't attend the 8th.
Okay, I can't attend. I have a Ruth Bader Ginsburg performance. It's National History Day, and this is at the National Hispanic Cultural Center.
It's close by.
So I have a good
I can see it over
excuse.
there.
I have a good excuse.
You have.
I'm occupied, ocupado.
We could treat Justice Ginsburg as underserved,
Thank you. I am
kill
not,
a couple of birds.
I'm
with
short,
one
but I'm
stone.
not underserved.
Oh, and the 8th is not locked in stone. Do you have an alternative that you want to suggest to the board?
No, I might, I'm glad to see this proposal move forward,
Okay,
and I'll urge Elena to attend.
So the next Fridays are the 15th and the 22nd and the 29th. You don't always have to meet on Fridays. It's just throwing it out there.
No, you can, if you want to change the date,
It's just,
but you shouldn't.
I don't know.
did we project those dates to the sheriff
We just said in March.
in March? Okay, we're good.
We just
You
know what
didn't
about.
mention anything. If we go 22nd, how's that for folks?
Yeah, it's really, Judge, it's the 15th.
And let's say this, I mean, there again, we get into these patterns. Our enabling legislation says at least quarterly meetings.
Right.
If we don't have any, I mean, I love seeing you all, but if we don't have anything, we don't have to.
No, we don't.
Force a meeting on a certain date. So.
No.
Know that as well. But I think it's helpful, particularly as we learn more about the sheriff's office to have some kind of monthly meeting. That
Judge
just
sustains our.
And there's your
Yeah.
community is who those people are out there.
I would propose, colleagues, March 22. How was that for folks? March 22.
You want to have the meeting March 22?
March 22.
Okay, okay,
Debbie Dodge, that works for you?
Well,
okay.
if it doesn't, I won't be here. Sometimes you miss a meeting.
Now and then, but it's certainly an opportunity, if it's not going to work for you.
I don't have anything currently on that date, except for then it's gonna, what are we gonna do to the rest of the meetings? Are they all gonna,
No,
we don't wanna
we can
meet
go
2 weeks
back to
after
April.
that.
What does April look like? Show me.
You want to try to project April?
Well, I know, yeah,
Okay, April would be the 12th, right?
that's when we would usually meet, yeah.
Right, that's okay, that's.
That's only 2 weeks after our,
No,
that-
it's 3.
if you have it on the 22nd
To the 29th,
to the 12th.
to the 5th, to the 12th, it's 3.
Okay, wait a minute.
Well.
Okay, you're saying March 22nd, right? And then if it's April 12th, that's 2 weeks after that.
3 weeks.
Okay. Is that too soon?
The person you should be asking is the one that gets out the agenda. Just kidding. No, it's not. That's plenty of time to do agendas. Now, if you did back-to-back meetings,
know
like
you
day
have
to
your-
day.
March 22nd, Night would be good. Okay, all right.
I
So
think
we're
March 29th, the
projecting
county
April
is
12th.
off, right? Isn't it our spring day?
It's Good Fridays.
Yeah, it's our spring
Is
day.
it Good Friday?
On March 29th.
March 29th.
29 is good.
The 29th.
I know,
is
it's our
Good Friday,
spring
but not the
day.
22nd.
Government has spring days.
Or spring break or narrow, whatever they call it.
And it's Good Friday.
Okay, so
Good Friday's the 29th of March.
Okay, so we're okay on the 26th.
It's like an early Easter.
March 22nd, then we're projecting April 12th. Again, not cast in stone, we're projecting
Right.
April 12th. We will be projecting May 10th. We will be projecting, we're doing the second Friday.
It's always the second Friday. Yes. So we have, I think
That
in
will-
all the times
Friday
we've
is
met,
June 14th.
maybe like 3 times gone off the schedule. In all the meeting.
So we'll have a fourth in March.
That's not bad. Those are pretty good. I think it's
All right.
pretty good averages right there.
So that's the announcement of our next meeting, May 22nd. Danette, you can secure this room.
Thank you.
March
I'm
22nd.
glad
March.
March,
I'm losing.
I'll
Okay.
be there.
Anything else to come before the SOARB? We had a reporter on and we're always grateful. Is
Yeah,
Carolyn
Carol-
Carlson?
She writes for, okay, Pat Davis has all these newspapers, the paper and City Desk now. Okay, she's,
Stephen gave me some links. Please, thank you so much.
Yes,
she left, yeah.
yeah, she did. I did send her a message if she was just here to listen or
Okay.
wanting to comment. She was here to
Just,
listen.
I thought you should know.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So,
They're doing a lot of.
Are you in contact with her at all? Is that a name?
I know her. I've been following for a while and she's on my email list for news releases. And I'm reading it every day, City Desk.
She was with Alibi
With
all those
what?
years
Alibi.
before Alibi. She covered the city. I
So
know.
Dr. Layton, elucidate again, what's the date of your presentation?
It's March 8th, if anybody's interested. It's National History Day. I don't have a specific time. It'll be between 12:30 and 2. When I know the specific time, I'll tell you.
Okay.
National Hispanic Cultural Center. This is the second time the Humanities Council asked me to do this on National History Day. I have an appropriate subject, that's why.
Oh.
So that's what I'm doing. Thank you.
I'd love to go to.
Is there any way we could get the US Supreme Court to pay attention?
Well, we can schedule it.
Sorry, I had that.
Good is a different, anything else, colleagues?
I move we adjourn.
Moved, is there a second? Moved and properly second, undebatable. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Thank you, we're adjourned.
And Steven, thank you for offering to provide media outreach.
Sure.